Okay, now let's make the frame. Now we're going to use pine for the frame because it's a nice lightweight, low-cost wood. Now this is a simple 1 by 1.5 inch. Now when they say 1 inch, that's actually about 3/4 of an inch. So that gives us a little extra when we have a 1 inch margin in our picture to wrap around. We'll have a little extra to wrap around the back of the frame. So we used, for this cutting, we use a miter box. Now this is a simple box with a 45-degree angle. Gives you nice reliable cuts. Because when we assemble the frame, we're going to have 45-degree angles here, and we're actually going to attach these pieces together. Once I measure the outside edge for one piece, I actually use that to mark the next piece for cutting so that I can make sure we have pieces that are matched up well. So we mark that for cutting, drop it in the old miter box, make that cut, and we'll be ready to put these together and create a frame. So it's pretty easy to do, pretty quick and kind of fun. There we go. Alright, let's put these pieces together. All we do is put a little bit of wood glue on each piece. We hold it together. Now I'm using a staple gun for this because this is a small frame. If it was a larger frame, we have some joiners that can join this together, but this is a simple 1/2 inch staple I'm putting in. Staple it in 2 spots. Going to move on to the next piece here. So we'll go all around and staple this. Now be sure you smooth off each side of the wood before you try to join it together so you get all the burrs off of that. And make sure you have a good amount of glue on each side. Now we're going to nail each of these staples in to make sure it's flush, and that's important when you put the canvas on the frame. You don't want any staples sticking up because that'll actually start showing through in terms of the contour on the actual print. Okay, we'll hammer those in and we'll flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side, hold it together. Okay, we'll tap in the staples so that they're nice and flush with the wood so that we don't see any bumps in the canvas. Now for a small frame this works fine like this. Now if we were doing a larger frame, there's actually some little corrugated fasteners here, and I could put one of those in and you hammer those in at an angle. Now for small frames it's too much, it would actually crack the wood, but if we're doing a larger frame you can put these corrugated fasteners in and that'll hold the frame secure, and you can even put small blocks in if you'd like to secure it even further. The nice thing is this will all be behind the picture. Okay, we'll let that dry and then we'll mount the actual canvas on the frame. We've got our canvas here. We're going to lay it face down on a work surface. Make sure it's nice and clean. I don't even use newspaper for this because I don't want any newsprint to get on my print. Now we'll put the frame on top and we're going to center the frame on top of the canvas. Now we're going to start attaching it to the frame. Now we're not really stretching it, we're just attaching it to the frame. We're going to start in the center of one of the sides. We make sure that it's evenly set on the frame. And we'll take our staple gun and we're going to staple to the back of the frame. There should be about 1/4 inch there of material to work with. Staple it there. Now we'll go to the opposite side, snug it up. You don't need to use a pair of pliers or anything. We're not really stretching the canvas, we're just attaching it to the frame. Now we wrap that around, staple that there. There we go. We're going to move on to the other side. This is just to get the overall placement. Same as this side here. There we go. Now we can start working our way toward the corners, and we'll staple about every inch, inch and a half. This goes fairly quickly once you get it lined up. You just keep that folded across there. Now you're going to leave about 2 inches from each corner so that we can do our little corner wrap. Now that's going to be kind of a fun trick and it works really well. You can see this goes pretty quick once you get the hang of it. Now let me show you how we do the corner wrap. Now this is very much like wrapping a gift with wrapping paper. You take the material, you push it toward the corner so you got a peak like that, and you actually fold it right off the end of the corner. And then you're going to fold that triangle over onto the top or onto the bottom depending on which corner you're working on. The intent is to have a nice smooth look from the side because that's the most common side people look at on the picture. So we fold this triangle over and then we're going to wrap it on the back and then staple that on the back. So maybe if this was a present you'd use tape, but here we're using a staple gun. Now the extra material from the side you fold over, staple that on the back. you end up with is a nice finished look with the triangle on top, smooth on the side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and complete that on all sides. I'm already getting excited about how this is going to look. This is an 8x10 hold on a frame, and with an 8x10 you have a little bit more material to work with, so I set more of a margin around the edge, and that allows me to do a little more of an advanced fold where I can actually tuck the material and create a smooth line on the edge. So what I do is I tuck that triangle and then I bring a vertical line up on the edge. I fold that across and I'll staple that and get a nice clean straight line on the edge like that. So I've done the same triangle tuck on the edge, but now I've tucked it underneath so I get a nice straight line aligned with the edge there. You may want to experiment with this with larger prints too. It takes a little more of a tuck, but it ends up with an even cleaner edge there. Okay, so I think that should give you enough to get you going. Enjoy, let us know how you do, and share your prints.